So to implement the home theater control stuff, I have a stereo that has that I'm gonna break out in a way that I can let the microcontroller just control the features of the stereo, just the power on off, volume, and the source. Um, so I'll show the circuit in a minute. I just want to start with the Android app. The modifications I made to this. This is um, the same Android app that I've made for this automation client. I added an activity for this theater control, so it's a little rough around the edges. I haven't, I'm not set on this UI. It's just functional right now. I mean, it's kind of like a remote. I don't know. I might just leave it because I don't care that much. If I get everything I want to get implemented, then I can go back and refine this pretty easily. But to start off, so I have the power source buttons, volume up and volume down, and I have like a rapid up and rapid down that does several steps. Um, there's no way to get feedback of where the volume is. That's something I'm planning to implement, but obviously since I'm kind of retrofitting onto the controls of the stereo, there's no way to like read. But this is super cheap too. It's not a nice theater system. It's just a speaker, like a subwoofer that doubles as an amplifier with speaker outputs. It doesn't even have a display on it. So there's no good way to get feedback. It has 40 steps for the volume, so I could initialize, like go all the way down and then keep track of where it is in steps or something, but I don't know. So far, there's no feedback on where the volume actually is, so it's just volume up, volume down, and wrap it up and wrap it down. In the center here, you'll see I have these colored lights. I installed an RGB lighting strip. It should be capable of more than these colors, but these are just the ones that I are really simple RGB color codes to send to it. And then so these buttons change the color of that backlighting that's going to go behind our entertainment stand or TV stand kind of thing. And then I had one thing I really wanted to do with this, and then I partially implemented, which I'll demonstrate, is voice control over this and over the lighting in the living room, and probably excuse me, probably over many of the other features that I'm going to put into this home automation system. So I started working with the voice control. Right now you have to press this button and it opens up the voice prompt. And then you can talk, and when you finish talking, it processes it and sends the command. I'd like to have similar to like a trigger word, kind of like OK Google, like a trigger word where I can, when the app is running, even if it's running in the background, you can say, home this, home living room light on or something, and it would trigger. So that's something I'm working on. But for now, you tap this voice button and you can give a voice command for anything that's on the screen or for the lighting control. So nothing really to show. I mean, the code's super simple, just button listeners and sending commands to my web service, same as before. And the voice implementation just uses a recognizer intent right in here. Pretty simple stuff, and then it just takes the text back from those results and processes it here. So I will show the circuit and I'll do a little demonstration. Alright, so I finished my wiring harness here. I hot glued the ends for security sake, and then I have these leads coming out. Those correspond to each of these switches. So all I got to do is ground these to activate these switches. I wrote down the colors, so it's color coded, and yeah, so that's what the adapters look like. And then yeah, so now I'm going to move on to actually using an Arduino, writing some code to test this out. So this is the switchboard from the stereo, like the control board, literally just the little panel with the buttons for controlling it. Not any type of logic on this, but what I did is I removed it from the wiring harness that came from the board inside the amplifier, and I made my own long wiring harness. So I have perf board here with male and female headers, and on this side vice versa, to extend the wiring harness that was here. So this will go back to the original connection, and then this is the extended ribbon I made. So what I can do now, this is a 5-volt board. I checked when it was in the amp still, and these are ground side switches. So this rightmost pin here is VCC, and then the one next to it's ground, and then the rest of these I haven't mapped yet. But what I'm going to do is figure out which wire on this harness goes to which switch, and then splice into that and run it over to a pin of the Arduino, or of the Atmega 328 chip, and then all I need to do is ground those pins to actuate the switch circuit. So what I plan to do with the 8266 is just send a command for each of these buttons when I want to actuate that button, and it'll pull that pin to ground for just a second to simulate like a button press. So the Android app, I'm just going to emulate these switches. So this is a volume up, volume down, source, and power. So I can just emulate a human pressing those switches with the Android app. Nothing fancy, like no bidirectional control, so no like status of what the volume is set to or anything, or what source it's on yet. I might figure out a way to do that eventually, but for now I'm just going to have it that I can take out the app on my phone and do volume up, volume down, source, and power, like as if I walked up to the unit and pressed the button. So I did that with extending the wiring harness, so now I'm going to map them out and splice into these. Okay, so here's the circuit. It's a little bit of a mess because I didn't want to finalize it yet, because I'm thinking I'm going to add some features to this for the like TV and some other control I want to do, but it's pretty basic. There's the board, the control board. Here's that breakout harness I made, power voltage regulator circuit, and there's the 8266 right in there. Kind of hard to see, sorry. There's the 8266. Then I have my breadboard there with the chip on it, and just breakout wires down at the very bottom. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry, I should have taken this video before I stuck this to the side of this speaker, but right in there's the MOSFETs for the lights. There's the LED lighting strip. Pretty basic. Just broke out the power switches and wired it up like I described. So I'll do a little demonstration now. Alright, so here's a demonstration. I'll do the voice first. Living room light off, backlight red. Backlight green, sound on. Backlight yellow. Sound off. And then, of course, you can do, manual control through these buttons. It's hard to see the screen. That's why I showed the app separately. But yeah, I think it works pretty sweet. I can turn those off. And yeah, so that's my current iteration of my like living room, home theater kind of entertainment center control system. I don't know what to call it. It's just some interesting features I threw together.